Today we'll be solving a few problems based on pointers. I had already given you one assignment for practice, which asked you to solve different programming assignments on pointers, basically writing user-defined functions. So now what we will do is we'll solve a few similar examples from that list so that you get more involved in learning about in writing functions containing pointers, because you need to practice these to get a hang of the things. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you all please don't switch on your microphone. You can reply via the chat. Okay. Yeah. So what we will do is I will do this is totally a coding session today. So first question, I'll just share my screen with you. Just give me a minute. So I hope you can see my screen. Can I get a few yeses on the chat? Okay. So the first question is you have to find the sum of odd integers present in a given array using pointers. So for that, we will write a function first of all. Okay. So going to the program. First of all, let us decide what will be the function signature. So it will be void add odd, and we are considering an array of integers. So we will specify the array as the first argument and the length of the array, that is n, as a second argument. Okay. You can also make this function return some value, since it's a sum, integer sum, so we can return int. Okay. So what we will do here is we need to use pointers for getting the sum. So what we will do is basically we will traverse the array using pointers, and we will check whether the number that you're looking at is even or odd. So if it is even, if it is odd, then only you will add to the sum. So you will have a normal sum variable, and we'll use a pointer to traverse the array. So the type of the pointer should be int star, right? Because it is an integer array that you're going through. All the elements are integers, so you need to have a pointer whose type is an integer. So int star ptr, and then what do you say? You want to traverse through the array. So what you will do is we will write a loop for pointer is equal to array. When I say ARR, when I say this, that pointer equal to ARR, what do I mean by that? I mean that I want to point to the first location of the array. So I want PTR to contain the address of the first element of the array. By this assignment, I mean this. Okay. When I pointer is less than, what should be the stopping condition of this loop? Can anyone tell me? And of course, there'll be a PTR plus plus. What should be the stopping condition of this loop? Size of what? Size of array. The size of array will give you what? It will give you the size of the array in bytes. That is not what you want. Exactly. Vinayak is right. It should be array plus n, because if you recollect, if you add some number to an address, that will add that many memory locations to that address, right? If you add some number, if you say, if you are at some address, what is ARR? It is address of ARR of 0. What is ARR? It is, when I write this array as it is, it means that it is address of ARR of 0. Now, when I write an expression like this, some integer plus I, okay, I is an integer, where I is an integer, it will add those many memory addresses to that address, okay. That means if it is an integer's address, in this case our array is of type int, it is an integer, each element is an integer. So if it is an integer's address, this expression that I have written right now, it will add those many memory locations. So I memory locations. So each integer is of 4 bytes, say, on your machine. Then it will advance by 4 into I locations in the memory. And if you're talking in terms of an array, it will advance those many elements by those many elements. So you want to stop scanning the array. You want to stop your pointer to scan your array at the last element. So your stopping condition should be your pointer is less than array plus I, or address of array of 0 plus, plus n, because less than. If you say less than equal to, then it will go one beyond the last address. So if for example, if n is 5, if the array size is 5, then this expression array plus 5, this expression will give you address of ARR of 5. Okay. So when I write pointer is less than address of ARR of 5, this kind of an expression you are writing in your for loop. If you see here, pointer is less than array plus n. This kind of an expression you are writing, less than, this comparison you are doing. Then it will stop at address ARR of 4. It will stop at the last element. That is what you want. So the correct expression is ARR plus n. That should be the correct expression. So you have to actually, now there is a break. We have started with structures in the last few lectures. We have discussed structures and unions, but before the break, before that 1 month break, we had discussed about pointers and pointer arithmetic. I had also shown address calculations. You have to revisit those videos and see the address arithmetic there. If you just go through the videos again, you will get to know how this will work. You have to revise, some of you maybe. Okay, and then come back to this. So this is our expression. And we are doing a pointer plus plus. Pointer plus plus will take you one memory location ahead, right? It will not take you one byte ahead. It will take you one memory location, one memory location corresponding to an int. So one integer ahead it will take you. 4 bytes. If it is an integer pointer, since PTR is an integer pointer, PTR plus plus is going to take you to array of 1. The first PTR plus plus is going to take you to array of 1. So it will be pointing to the address of array of 1 in the second run of the for loop. First run, initially what you are doing, PTR is ARR. That is nothing but PTR is address of ARR of 0. That is what you're doing. Now inside this, what you have to do is, you have to write the expression for adding. So initially what is important is, since it's calculating sum, you say sum plus equal to ARR of I. This expression you want to write, but you have to write it using pointer. So you will simply say star of PTR. So you will say sum plus is equal to star of PTR. So that will give you the answer in sum. But before that, what you have to do is sum is equal to 0. So what you're doing is sum is equal to 0. Are you getting? Just look at the screen and see the sum is equal to 0 initially. So at the end of this function, what we will do is return sum. So your answer will be in sum. But is the solution correct? No, it is not, right? So there is some change that you need to make. What is the change that you need to make? The change is, we have to check whether the current element is even or odd. Only if it is odd, you have to add it to the sum. So you need to write an if condition. If sum, if if star PTR mod 2 equal to 0, then only you will add this value to your sum. Otherwise, you will not add. Not equal to 0, sorry. This has to be not equal to 0. Because you need to add only the odd elements, not the even elements. So this has to be star PTR mod 2 not equal to 0. So this completes your function, and let us write a call for this function. So what we will do is, quickly we will just declare some arbitrary array here just to test run the function. Okay, so I'll call it some other name inside main, and what I will do is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it should, from this array, pick up all the odd elements and give you the sum of these elements. So for getting the sum, what we will do is, we will say printf the sum of odd elements is, we will call the function now inside this printf. So what we will do is add odd, we will call inside the printf. So here we will say %d, because our sum is going to return, add odd function is going to return an odd number, the sum of odd elements. So add odd which array do you want to compute? A, and you want to compute, you also want to give the size. You can either give 10 here, or what you can do is you can make use of the size of operator, size of A divided by size of int. This will give you the exact number of elements of A. So to get the number of elements of A, n, okay, of A, that is n, this value n, if you want to find out this value, what you can do is you find the size of this array in bytes. Size of will return the size of the array in bytes, and size of int will be 4 bytes for a 32-bit system. It will vary depending on the system. So it will give you the correct value accordingly. This will give me the number of elements. Okay. Now, what we will do is we will run this quickly. So we will run this program. Let us compile this. ptr1. We will run this. So the sum of odd elements is 25. So is it correct? So 1 plus 3, 4 plus 5, 9 plus 7, 16 plus 9 is 25, right? So this will give you the sum of odd elements in the array. Similarly, you can write a function to find the even elements in the array. So can all of you write it and show? I will ask randomly someone to show the screen. Either you type the function, just the function, don't run it and show. Just write it on a piece of paper and maybe share the pic or something like that. Or what you can do is share your screen. Just type it on your screen and share it. Let me see whether you can write for add even. What should be the change? Or just tell me what is the change. Else, if star, okay, Param, if star PTR, yeah, that is a change. In the else part, why in the else part? Ganesh, why in the else part? Why do you require? You just have to write a function to add the even number. To find out whether the number is even, then only you will include in the sum. So you do not need an else part. Directly the if will change. Only the equal to, not equal to will change to equal to. That's the only change. Only thing is that you should be well versed with writing this using pointers. Once you are able to do that, it will be easy for writing any programs using pointers. Okay, so you should have a practice sort of, so that you can write the program, whatever programs you have done using arrays. What I suggest that you try all those using pointers now. So for all that, if you try using pointers, you will get a good hang of it. And Aniket, you cannot clear the array directly. If you want to clear the array, you will have to do it manually. But the clear thing, whatever, you will have to give it some value like a 0 or a -1, whatever you want to initialize with. You have to run a loop. So there is no way to clear it directly. Yeah. So we'll go to the next program. Any questions so far? I think the program was pretty straightforward. So we will go back to the second question. Second question is, you sort marks using pointers. So what we will do is we'll write a function which will have an array called marks and sort it using pointers. Have you tried this program? Have you tried this program? So all of you, what you do is this program, I want you to try it right now. Okay, I just want you to type it on the screen. Yeah, just type it on your screen in a notepad or somewhere. Just type it, no need to run it. Just type it. Sort the array of marks. Just write the function. I will ask randomly someone to share. So 10 minutes I'm giving you. Please write this function. All of you, please write this function. We can clear using the free function, but for that you require dynamic memory allocation. Dynamic memory allocation is not there as far as the syllabus is concerned. It won't it only clear the first memory location. This is with respect to what? The static array. Free will free the memory which is allocated on the heap. So there are two different memory areas, the stack memory area and the heap memory area. So if you want to allocate memory dynamically, the heap memory area is used. Okay. So basically stacks and heaps, these are data structures which are used, or you can say a way of organizing data inside memory, which are used by the compiler to separate ways of storing data. Okay. So for there are two types of memory allocation, basically static and dynamic. So whatever we are doing so far, whatever we have discussed in the course is static memory allocation. And as far as dynamic memory allocation is concerned, you require special functions. There are special functions in the library stdlib.h. So what we have to do is you have to actually use those functions to allocate memory. Then only you can use some other function like free is used for deallocating the memory. So allocation, there are two parts. You need to allocate memory for it explicitly. So you need a function for that. There's a separate function. You cannot directly declare some array and it will get statically allocated. It will not get dynamically allocated. You need to use some function that is malloc calloc. Yes. So malloc calloc are functions which you have to use. So if you use free, you can free the entire memory, whatever you have allocated. It will not be only one location, Aniket. It will be the entire memory that you have allocated. Okay, Ishan, no, there's no difference. Only thing is, instead of integers, you can make it float. Marks could be float. Okay, so 10 minutes I'm giving you. Please finish it off. Let me see how many of you answer. Yeah, I have shown the screen. Can you see the program, Param? The previous program? Okay, you're done. So anyone can show. Okay, I'll call out some name. Param, can you show your screen? I'll stop presenting. Param, can you share your screen? Okay, anyone can share the screen? Anyone ready with the laptop? Anyone can share the screen so that everyone can see? Can anyone share the screen who have done it? Who have just typed the code at least? Can anyone volunteer? Samay, yes, Samay, please. Please share your screen. Okay, who is sharing? Okay, Ishan is sharing. Okay, let us see one by one both. What you have done is, okay, float. Can everyone see the screen? Can you all see his screen? I hope everyone can see his screen. So Ishan, can you just increase the font, maximize it?
Ma'am, I don't know how to do that, to be honest.
Okay, okay,
I've
okay.
never done it
Just
before.
go back. Just
Very
go back.
sorry.
If you click on that and control, and if you have your mouse, if you use a scroll up button, then it will get. Yeah, yeah. Control press and scroll up button. It will happen. Okay. So this sorting is, as you can see, I is equal to minus 0. I is equal to minus 0, 0. Yeah. So I is equal to 0, I is less than equal to n minus 2, I plus plus. Okay. So many passes you have, and you are comparing in each pass a with a plus 1. It actually has to be a plus j, right? Which sorting technique this is? Bubble sort. Okay. So consecutive elements you are comparing. So what you have to do is, the problem with this code is it will not compare consecutive elements. It will always compare the first element with the second element. Always it will compare that, because you're not writing any variable. You're not writing any variable. It has to be a plus j. It has to be something star of a with star of a plus j. Yes, star of a plus j with star of a plus j plus 1. Yes, 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 exactly. I hope people are getting it, because if I just compare star a with a star of a plus 1, I will not be able to compare all elements. I'll be only comparing first and second element only in every run of this loop, these loops that I've written. Okay, so it has to be star of a plus j with a plus j plus 1. That is for bubble sort. Everyone has done selection sort. Good, Ishan, good. And your sorting also inside your temp will change. Temp is equal to star of a plus j. Star of a plus j is equal to star of a plus j plus 1, right? This will also change accordingly. Please make the changes so that everyone can see this. Others, please observe what he is doing. I hope some of you have written it at least. Yeah. A plus j plus 1. Yes. Why n minus 2? Someone is asking why n minus 2. Ishan, can you answer? Can you switch on your microphone and answer?
Ma'am, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, yes.
Just 1 second. Yes, ma'am. So we'll need n minus 2 passes for the inner loop itself, and then we have to do it n minus 2 times in a way.
Actually, he has written less than equal to n minus 2. That means n minus 1 passes somewhere.
Yeah. So the
Exact number of passes is n minus 1, right?
Yeah, the number of passes is n minus 1.
N minus 1. Yes, Samay? And also comparisons also, it will be from j is equal to I. So now the only thing change that you can make here is j is less than equal to n minus 2 minus I. So that the number of comparisons are reduced every time, right? Because first run of the loop in bubble sort, what is the logic? First run of the loop, the element is sort, the last element is sorted, right? So you can reduce the number of comparisons. Also, this will also work. Okay. Anyone else has used selection sort? Thank you, Ishan. Thank you. You can stop sharing your screen. Anyone else has used selection sort? Hello. Anyone has used selection sort? Okay. We go back to the third question. Reverse a sentence using pointers. We will reverse a sentence using pointers. I'll just go through it quickly.
Ma'am, do you want us to reverse only the words, the order of words, or the entire letters of the words, like just reverse an array sort of?
The entire letter of the word, not the individual words. We do not have to reverse the individual words. We have to reverse the entire string. Okay. So if string is A B C D E space D E F, then the output should be F E D space E D C B A. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'll just ask in the chat box.
Yes. This one, I will show this program to you right now. I will just code it quickly because I don't know whether you have used pointers in strings. Have you used pointers with strings? Have you used pointers with strings? Can I get a few replies on the chat?
Not really, ma'am. We haven't really used it.
Okay, okay. I will just do it quickly. So, what I will do is I'll just save it quickly. Now, what I will do is this in this function, it will reverse, right? So, reverse the string. I'll call reverse str. It will not return any value because since you're making changes to this string itself, it's a character array, right? So I will call it.
Then we are not sharing the screen.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'll just share the screen. Yeah. So what I will do is, I hope you can see my screen now. So what I will do is s of, yeah, so I have a pointer. So I will run a loop for no initialization. S is my string. So S, there are different ways of actually writing this function. One way is you directly make use of the indexes of the array, but you use the pointer notation, or the second way is you use two pointers, one from the starting, one from the end, and you traverse till you reach the beginning, till you reach the center of the string, and as and when you're traversing, one will move from left to right, the other will move from right to left. As you're going towards the center, you keep on exchanging the element. That is what you're going to do for reversing. So we will do with this approach. Two pointers we will create. Of course, the type of the pointers have to be, I'll call it left and L and R for left and right. The type of the pointers have to be char because they have to hold a string. So what we will do is S, L should be equal to S of the first element, the left pointer, and R should be equal to the second element, the last element. The last element is n minus S plus n minus 1, right? N is the length of the string which we are passing. If we are not passing the length of the string, which we do, actually we do not pass it directly, we can use strlen to find the length of the string. Okay, string length we can use to find the length of the string. So here we are passing here. So what we will do is R is equal to S plus n minus 1 and L is equal to S. So left pointer is assigned to the first element and right pointer is assigned to the last element. The address, it's containing the address basically. Okay, and then what we will do is L and R do not coincide. One is going from left to right, the other is going to from right to left. So they should not coincide. So L is not equal to R. So the moment L becomes equal to R, we will stop. Okay, for example, I will just show, this is my string, hello. Okay, so in this case, L will be pointing to H and R pointer will be pointing to O, right? Then what we will do is we will exchange. So after the exchange, first run, what will happen? R will, O will come here, E will be here, L will remain same, H will come here. We will swap L and R. The contents of L and R we will swap. After that, L will advance by 1, right? L will come here, L pointer. And R pointer will go 1 to the left. That is what it is happening. What is happening? Okay. Now again you will swap. So you will get O, E will be swapped with L, that L which is at R, and this L will remain same, and E will come here. Okay. This is what you will get. And then what will happen next step? Again L and R should coincide, will coincide. Both will point to this element. L is also here and R is also here. Both are on the same element. And at this point we can stop because either at this point what has happened? Both have come here at the same location and we do not need to exchange. But this happens in the case when string is odd. What happens when the string is even? For example, instead of hello we have Okay, so in this case, the string is even. So in this case, what will happen when L comes here? And R comes here, we will swap these two elements. Now in this case, it is both are same. You will swap these two elements, this and this, you will swap. And then what will happen at the next run, L will come here, it will get interchanged, right? So R will come here, L will come here. They will interchange, so they will cross each other. So actually you should stop the logic when they cross each other. Okay, so the logic should keep on continuing till L is less than or equal to R. The address of L and the address of R, okay, you have to check. It should be less than or equal to. In this case, you will stop. While it is less than R, while L is less than R, you will stop when you reach either L equal to R, this condition for odd case, or for even case, you will reach R greater than, R less than L. Okay, so this condition what we write here will be L less than R. While your L is less than R, you keep on continuing the swapping. Okay, and then L plus plus, L should be incremented. At the same time, R should be decremented. R should be decremented. It is moving towards the left. Okay, so in this loop, we will write the logic for swap. So you will say temp is equal to star L is equal to star R, and star R is equal to temp. That is what you will write. So once you do this, your string will swap. Your string will get reversed. Okay. So suppose this is my string. I will just change it. Char str is equal to hello, hi, hello. Okay. So let us see. Reverse string is what? Reversed string is %d, %s, and here we will call the reverse string method, reverse string function, with str as the argument, and second will be the size. So size of str, the length. You can do it in this way, or you can use string length function. Size of str divided by size of char, because each is a character. Okay, so this will give you the length of this string. So one will be for the \0. So what we will do, this will give me one extra letter. So we will do -1. Okay, if you don't understand this, use string length of str. That will also give you the correct answer. Okay, once we do this, let us quickly run it. So pointer to, okay, so reverse string first is oh, I'm sorry. What you have to do is you have to just call the function and then print it. Right? Because this function is not returning any value. It's just saying void. It is actually making changes to the original string. So what you need to do is you need to call the function and then we will print the string. So we will print the string here. Okay. We'll call the function. This is the function call. In this line is the function call. And then we will print the string. Okay. So here, and compile it. Again, one bracket is missing, or extra brackets here. Okay, so you can see the reverse string. If you can see, the reverse string is Okay, it was hello space hi space hello, right? So this is your string, reverse string. So what you have done is 2 pointers you have taken, one from the left, one from the right, and you have traversed one towards the right, one towards the left, and in the end result is reversing the string. Okay, this is one way. We will discuss few more ways in the next lecture tomorrow. We will see other ways also. Okay, and I will pass this program to you so that you can refer it. So before I just stop, I will send you the link. Okay, I'll send you the link of this form. Which you have to send. I'll send it on the chat. Please fill your attendance. Okay. Okay. Let me see the code. Samay, I'm going through your code. You fill the feedback. Okay. Samay and Ishan, just a minute, Ishan. You all please fill this form, all of you, and then you can leave. Okay. Samay. Yes. So this program, what you have written, Samay, will print the string in reverse. It will not reverse the actual original string. Okay. What we have done in our program is we are reversing the string. The original string only we are changing. We are not creating a new string. So this is also correct. This will print the reverse of a string.
Ma'am.
Yes. Who is this?
Ma'am, the Google form is not accepting the responses. Prabhat.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It's not responding.
Yeah. Now you can give it. Just refresh your page. Yes, Ishan, you can show your screen. Now it should work. Please click on the link again. It should work now. Or refresh your page if you have done. Okay. You're going till half the length and S plus I. Yes, this is the second way of doing it. Good. Good, Ishan. This is right. S plus N minus, only thing is okay, yeah. You are passing the addresses to the swapper function. Yeah, this is also correct. Yes, Ishan. Good. So please fill the form and you can leave.